Kia ora everyone, I'm here again today for a quick update video on the upcoming LEGO Krusty Burger set revolving around the minifigure selection. This information here comes from brickups.co.uk, who don't link a source in their article, but I did see other people reporting on this information across all social media spaces. As always with leaks and rumors and things like this, take everything said here with a grain of salt, as everything is subject to change at any given time. So I just wanted to give my quick thoughts on some of these rumored figures here, because this potentially gives us an idea of where LEGO's heads are at when it comes to the LEGO Simpsons branding. Real quick, for those who aren't aware, LEGO set 10352 is set to be the Krusty Burger from The Simpsons, which also says to be releasing in June of 2025. That's new information for me actually, that's exciting, that's soon. The set is also listed as now containing 1,635 pieces in total, also new information. And at this stage we have 6 minifigures included, retailing for $230 USD before tax, which I estimated at the time would have been 330 NZD. That was a close enough conversion back in November when I first covered this news, and now basically translates over to 400 NZD. Oh my god. The piece count and price point is interesting to see, though a quick discussion on that since it is brand new information for me. At 1,635 pieces total, that does officially make it smaller than both the House and the Quickie Mart. The House they released in 2014, it retired by the end of 2017, and it contained 2,523 pieces in total, retailing here in NZ for 400 NZD. The NZ inflation calculator shows that at the retirement stage, that set today would have cost around $511. The Quickie Mart is in a pretty similar place. That set there had 2,179 pieces in total, so it featured 344 less pieces than the House, but 444 more pieces than the upcoming Krusty Burger. As a result of that, it was priced at 350 NZD instead of 400. The inflation calculator under the same parameters shows that the Quickie Mart set would be $447 in NZD in today's current market. So I guess the 3 sets match once you take inflation into account. I didn't really want to be spending that much on a set that potentially feels like less than the previous ones, but now we have a rough estimate for the size of this thing. It should be smaller than those previous ones, unless they're using really massive pieces or something. But anyway, you're here for the minifigures, which is the most exciting news here. 6 figures included, and they are rumored to be as follows. We have Homer Simpson, Bart Simpson, Krusty the Clown, Sideshow Bob, Squeaky Voice Teen, and Officer Lou, and all of these figures are said to be appearing with the exact same molded head style seen 10 years ago with the CMF and the House release. This is a very interesting lineup of characters. I've got many thoughts in both positive and negatives. For starters, 3 brand new characters is a dream for me. It's the most amount of new exclusive Springfieldianites in one set, the Quickie Mart originally being number 1 for that statistic, with the inclusion of simply 1 figure, being Snake. Most of those figures included in both the House and the Quickie Mart were made available in the CMF series. That was always one of the weakest points for both of those sets for me personally. Having brand new characters is amazing, and it's exactly what I was wanting to hear. However, the line has been dead for close to a decade now, and there are definitely fans out there who missed both of the CMF series releases and both of those sets, therefore they're missing the main family members. Homer and Bart are your selling images of that brand, absolutely, but if I wasn't privileged enough to already have all of the previous figures myself, I'd be very disappointed with this news. But like I was saying earlier, this gives us a possible idea of seeing where LEGO's heads are at when it comes to the branding of this toy line. It makes me think that it might be possible we see more sets in the future. We're currently seeing 1 LEGO Lord of the Rings set released per year based on a big massive display piece thing. Maybe the Simpsons will follow through as well. Krusty Burger was always a set that was requested by fans back when the House and Quickie Mart released, but you know what else was just as equally requested? A Springfield Elementary set, which could easily include characters like Lisa along with Marge for a parent-teacher meeting or something, and with Marge you're probably likely to include a Maggie minifigure as well. There'd also be no need to include Homer there because you could still have Bart there to sell that set to the masses, getting at least one of the main profitable duo. So it's interesting to see that they're not included here in the Krusty Burger, but I don't necessarily think that means that you won't ever see them on shelves again. For Bart and Homer, I'm wondering if they're going to appear as different variants compared to their previous releases. Bart had 4 minifigures in total, some variations in the torso coloring between the regular appearance and Bartman. That CMF figure, for example, had a slingshot in his pocket. I believe Homer had maybe 3 variants, 2 of them were very similar, one was him with his work tie, the other was just his regular appearance, and that figure was released in like the CMF series and Dimensions and the Quickie Mart set, so some form of a variant might be nice to see here, but I don't know if people necessarily want to see that. I'm wondering if people just want a normal version of these two since it's been so long since we had them on shelves. A different expression at the very least would be really nice to see. Krusty was always going to be a given, of course, he needed to be here, and I'm just predicting that it's going to be the same one from previous releases. He was first released in the CMF series, but that figure was then re-released in the Dimensions wave. There's not too many variants that they could do otherwise either, and I don't think it's necessary. Now, Squeaky Voice Teen here was my #1 most anticipated release, I think. He and Mole Man are 2 of the citizens that just appear everywhere. They were even listed in The Simpsons Tapped Out in their own category group together. He's a really funny inclusion, and I look forward to seeing that uniform printed in minifig form. I'm also wondering if they're going to give him a molded hat too or something. Officer Lou is also a really cool inclusion given the wide diversity of Springfield, and we didn't get too many people of color in the previous releases, 2 figures only with Hibbert and Apu. He will pair really nicely with the Wiggum figure, but now I've got an issue with us missing Eddie. It's really weird to me to not have him thrown in here just because Eddie will never have his own character release without a Wiggum or a Lou figure. It's just kind of locked in as a permanent, never happening release now. And the final figure inclusion being Sideshow Bob is insane to me. That is insane. He's never been connected to the restaurants either, from memory at least. He's connected to Krusty himself, of course, as an entertainer. People thought that maybe he would be here for that reason alone, but I think we all agreed it was just wishful thinking. Like, Sideshow Bob was a heavily requested figure for the CMF line, but everyone assumed that he was likely just too controversial, tragically stuck in the same unfair boat as characters like Moe and Barney. He is a personal favourite character of mine from the show, and part of me thinks that the LEGO team here will make a figure of him just because they really want to see if they can try out that challenge of adapting that crazy hair. As for some missing inclusions, I really thought that Mr. Teeny would be a given here. They've got jokes in the show of him being an employee at the restaurant. It seemed like a likely gag to include there, but maybe there's a chance he's included as a character inclusion rather than a minifig type release, thinking along the lines of a molded release like Bambi or Dumbo. Though in saying that, if Mr. Teeny was included here as a molded piece, well, it would have been included as information for the minifigures. I also really thought that this would be the one to finally give us a Skinner figure along with the Chalmers. Steamed hams doesn't happen inside the Krusty Burger, but that joke does revolve around Skinner getting food from said restaurant. As we know, LEGO love to cater towards the adult market. They've been doing memes and junk in some sets over the past few years as a link to that initiative. I just really imagine that they would have had an image in the press kit and on the box of these 2 sharing steamed hams together. I also just really want a Skinner minifigure. He was one of the biggest missing points from that CMF series. Disappointing to see that that's not happening here, but there's always the chance of having an elementary school release later on down the line. This is a very exciting LEGO set for me. It's one of my top anticipated releases. I think realistically of the year, it might be my #1 alongside the Baggy and Shire set. I've been putting money aside for the set ever since the announcement just because I want this thing at its release. If it's released in June as well, we should be getting some images sometime in the next month or 2, maybe some more information on that release soon. If you enjoyed this news coverage of a LEGO Simpsons set, liking and subscribing to the channel here does help to support us in making more videos like this one. Thanks for watching everyone, ka kite anō, take care, see you all next time.